this is the word we've all been waiting for in this microphone. Eclectic. ASMR. Hi. Welcome to my assortment of eclectic ASMR. Just moving it slightly closer. This thing has been a trip to figure out. I thought I needed audio recording software. I do not. Thank goodness, because I downloaded, it's called Audacity, and it's annoying. Not to be mean, but it's a lot. I'm not necessarily the techiest person in the room ever, so I'm happy that I have figured out a way. I am gonna click away right now just to make sure that this video is actually doing what I need to be doing and like recording audio from this thing and not my my computer's microphone. So just give me 1 second. Okay. So it sounds good. It sounds good. And I can actually listen to myself. I filmed so last night I filmed like just a couple little practice type things. Not necessarily anything too serious, just to kind of figure out how this thing works. And so far so good. I'm very happy. I'm very happy with how it's going. I'm very happy with how everything is turning out, I would say. This thing is to a almost shocking degree sensitive. I've never been able to listen to myself in real time. And of course, being able to listen to myself with these headphones in, I'm just going to slightly adjust that way this thing doesn't. There we go. I think that'll make our experience a little bit better. There we go. But it's weird listening to myself in media res, I guess. But on one hand, this is really gonna help my editing, because I'm gonna try to make like some sort of code for myself to know when something is too loud in the video, so I don't actually have to like rewatch the entire video. Not that I don't like doing that, but it just makes the process quicker. I don't know, it's more convenient, I guess. In that way, you can also hear me like, oh dear, I'm gonna use some lotion just to alleviate that. But the other thing that you are probably experiencing at the moment is the fact that you can actually hear where I am. It's got like that kind of binaural quality to it, which is just also a little bit of a trip to kind of deal with, but we're working with it. This microphone has kind of thrown off my schedule a tiny bit. Of course, this is the Q&A video, as you probably saw in the title, but along with the Q&A, this is kind of throwing off my Trigger Word Tuesday, so there's a couple of like announcements, I guess, to make before we get started. One, the member videos are on their way. It's just that they will come a tiny bit later because I needed to figure out how this thing works. It is still only the 25th, but that only gives me 6 days, so I am only human. Other thing, I still have my list for my September favorites. It was October 1st, literally yesterday. I have no idea where the time went, so that will be on its way. I promise that. 2 announcements, like I said. So 1, I'm going to make a community post about this along with my Trigger Word Tuesday post. 1, if you have any trigger words to suggest, please do them below this video or on the community, the post that's So, the first couple of questions are from multiple different people. Oh, you can hear my stomach. There were two questions that I was asked quite often, I would say, and I just thought I would answer them at the very top, just because they are quite basic questions as well. But of course, it is nice to point out everybody. The first question is my age. This was asked by Flower Child, Ashton Picard, Fluffy Monkey M, and yes, that's all. But I also do get this question often enough, like in comments and things like that, just to put it at the top of the video. I am 25. I am 25. I am a 98 baby. Second question that I get a lot, or that I get comments about, it was asked by Ashton Picard as well. But like, I get asked this, and I get people commenting when I like drop it here and there. Like, oh, I didn't know that. My name is Ryan. My name is Ryan, R-Y-A-N, Ryan. Okay, so those are the two that I really, I wanted to answer at the very beginning, just to get them out of the way. And then, just in the order that people ask these questions, they show up on this list. So, there's no specific order to look out for. Next two questions, I guess, come from Flower Child again. It was good that you questioned my age, so that I could put it at the top of the video. So, where do I want to be in 5 years? This is very job interview. I love job interview questions. And I also love a cop-out answer. You will find tons of cop-out answers in this video, which I am happy about. I like my sort of clever way of circumventing actually answering a question. Just kidding, they're all gonna be answers. It's just, I think in weird ways sometimes. But where do I want to be in 5 years? This question, often I find that I have to have a tangible, like, this is where I need to end up in 5 years. I have stopped looking at it like that. I far rather would like to set, like, maybe more intangible goals. Of course, I do have tangible goals. If I were able to disclose my career on here, obviously I do not, because I work with a sensitive class of people, and the internet it can be a scary place. And so I prefer not to talk about what I do, just in case somebody sees me in real life and then they automatically know about what I'm doing and where I'm going, and that can lead to some vulnerabilities being exposed. But so I do have career goals. I will definitely say that because of my recent frustration with work, my career goals are getting to the point where they're more of like a 2-year goal kind of thing rather than a 5-year goal. I thought they would be like a 3 to 5 year kind of goal. We're definitely shortening that timeline, especially because I've now met somebody who has provided me with mentorship that I didn't know that I needed, but I did, and I'm very grateful to that person. So we're kind of fast tracking. It could potentially be the fact that within the next 6 months I have kind of the career that I thought I would have leaving high school, which my goal career, I guess you could say. That's a good way to put it. So that is kind of tangibly where I want to be in 5 years. Another thing is, tangibly in 5 years, I would like to be in or have experienced some sort of romantic relationship. I am broadly asexual, so it's not as though I need something like So I'm on Tinder, which I find to be we'll talk about Tinder in another video if we really want to, but it's just kind of fun starting to think more intentionally about it, I guess is the best way to put it. Now, here's my actual answer to this question. Sorry, long-winded. You know what you signed up for. It's hard to breathe with this thing. Not really, but I just have to be more conscious about it, I think. But let's see. I might need to change the setting on this thing. No, I think we're good. If you can hear that humming in the background, please tell me. If you ever want to drop a timestamp, also to say like this sounded really good or this sounded awful, please let me know. That way I can kind of make our collective experience better. Does this make it more sensitive? Holy shit, that does make it more sensitive. That does make it more sensitive. I'm gonna keep it kind of where it's at. Sorry, again, learning curve. But where do I want to be in 5 years? Well, 5 years ago, if you asked me this question, I would have said that I wanted to come to a greater place of self-acceptance for sort of my eccentricities. I have always been kind of a unique, eccentric kind of person. I know that the people in my life have told me that, for better or for worse. Personally, I think it's all for the better because I enjoy being kind of different. Not in like that sort of like I'm not like others kind of way, just more sort of like, I mean, there's the ADHD, there's the anxiety, there's the kind of interesting pathways in my head. I frequently do things differently than other people find normal, typical, I guess I should say. But, so I've always been like that, and I've always enjoyed that. But I've started, within the last 5 years, I kind of went on this thing of giving myself more space to be the atypical person that I am, and to kind of not apologize for it as much, and to just unapologetically do it, and to trumpet that going forward in the next 5 years. I want to kind of mirror that acceptance internally, externally. I don't talk about this a lot because it is kind of like an ongoing thing for me, but I struggle with my body image. Absolutely. I struggle with my face. I struggle with my body, and just perceiving it as good or attractive or desirable. So I think I want to try to come to a place of self-acceptance a little bit more so. As the ASMR channel has kind of helped that. If we're talking about where do I want to be in 5 years, I would say that I've already done probably about 6 months of that work, if we're like measuring it. Mostly because there have been moments filming videos where I have paused to kind of just think like, wow, I actually feel as though I look handsome. It's especially when I put on makeup. And I think that wearing the makeup more often would probably help. But that has really, 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 really helped me. I've also been more okay with showing up just how I look, with my hair slightly imperfect, with my skin imperfect. I've come to a greater place of acceptance with that. It's the body image that really, really is the thing that I haven't made progress on, and it's not that I feel as though I'm too big or whatever. Don't do me a favor and do not subscribe to that kind of shit that is on TikTok of like, you're cantle tilt, and do you have chicken wing arms, and do you have fucking like Buzz Lightyear thighs, and do you have like zebra whatever, like, do you get what I'm saying? Where there's like, oh, I have too much buccal fat, or I have too much, that is meant to sell you things. That is meant to sell you things. Or like, it's the same thing as like the early 2000s obsession with the thigh gap. It's like, fuck off. Really? But I have found that recently, in the last probably about 6 months, I would say, and I fully blame this on Ozempic, that resurgence of that, because now all of a sudden it is easy to become thin and pretty again and attractive again, where the body positivity movement was kind of like this incredible embracing of looking how you look and loving yourself if you want to change it or if you want to stay the same or whatever, just coming to a point of sort of oneness with the way that you look. I think that was probably the most positive thing to come out of like the beauty industry, or the looks industry, I guess, because beauty kind of has an association with makeup, in a long time. And I think the fitness industry also started embracing larger body types, and Lizzo definitely helped with this. I know Lizzo's a little bit of a sensitive case at the moment, but I think Lizzo really helped with it, because of course, like, she would film those TikToks of herself working out, and it's like, she's not looking to shed all of this weight. She is looking to become healthy and maintain a level of healthiness within the size that she is. And that's what I want to do. I want to come to a point where I look at myself in the mirror and I enjoy what I see, no matter what I see. So that's kind of the journey that I want to go on with my body. I think if I start going swimming more often, that will really help. I found when I taught swimming lessons, I had a very positive opinion of the way that my body looked, because of course I was shirtless for 5 hours on end in front of a pool deck filled with, at some points, 100 people at a time, and that was really okay, and that made me feel much happier, especially if I was doing like really, really young parented classes where parents are with their toddlers in the pool alongside me. We're kind of like doing all this stuff. That was, I had usually 10 kids in those classes with their parents, so obviously it was safe. I would have 10 parents looking right at me, and today the thought of that scares the shit out of me, but I was okay with it at one point, and I want to become okay with it again. I hope that kind of makes sense. This is also the reason why I'm not on social media, but we're gonna save that. We're gonna put a pin in that one. So, very long-winded answer, but again, you know what you signed up for. Next, what is my main motivator? This is also a good question. Very job interviewee. I would venture a guess to say that you're an HR professional. Just kidding. That's me being nosy. What is my main motivator? This is, again, maybe a little bit of a weird answer, but I'd say that if somebody were to ask me if I were to be honest about what my main motivator is, I believe it is people pleasing. Again, that cocktail of anxiety and ADHD and all that, kind of playing into it. If you know, you know, kind of where, for better or for worse, I do seek a lot of external validation in order to motivate me towards things. I don't think that that is necessarily a bad thing. I just think that the way that I contextualize it in my head maybe isn't the healthiest, whereas I'm not doing things for people, but I am sacrificing myself in order to do things, if that makes sense, for other people in the pursuit of pleasing them, which that is not the right way to go about people pleasing. It also turns me into a little bit of a doormat, but I would like it to kind of shift to becoming more sort of like, I don't think I'll ever get that need to make people happy around me. I think that's just kind of hardwired, but I think recontextualizing it in the way of like, okay, what does this also do for me? The other thing that I want to do is I really want to, and I've done a good job of this already, I really want to make my main motivator what is fun and what is engaging gotta keep real. Hallelujah. Anyway, that Untucked isn't what it used to be. But I also think that old Untucked kind of ended up getting maybe a little bit aggressive. But the next question comes from Starshine and Chels. Starshine and Chels. And so this is, what are my unpopular opinions? This question. And I have a couple of them. I'm going to start with food, because I think that is the majority of where my unpopular opinions lie. Not a huge fan of onions. I'll do a shallot. That's not for me. Same idea for garlic. I can tolerate garlic. But if something is so, like, garlic, if something is, like, very prominent garlic flavor, I'm not happy with it. Like a pasta sauce with too much garlic in it. Not amazing. A salsa, or like a bruschetta, or like something with too much onion in it. Also not great. And then I'm equal opportunity. I don't like red onion, white onion, or green onion. But again, like if they're flavoring something, they're not terrible. Shallots, though, I like shallots. I could, like a pasta sauce that's seasoned with shallots or something like that. Oh, that's good. I dislike tomatoes. I'll eat them if they're chopped up, but it's the tomato skin that really gets me, and then the goopiness inside. Can't do it. I hate Jell-O. It's a texture thing. It's also kind of a taste thing. I don't like super sweet stuff. But Jell-O, I actually heaped up a Jell-O cube once because of the texture. I was a kid. I was like 8 years old, and I haven't eaten Jell-O since. Or anything like gummy or gelatin or whatever. What else? Here's an unpopular opinion. And nobody can judge me for this. Shake on it. I am not a Halloween fan. It has to do with a neighbor that I once had who used to go all out with his decorating. And I was a very scared child as it is. Like, to the point where up until I was 15, I refused to go down into the basement without, like, someone else. But, yeah, I'm not a huge Halloween fan. Because A, I don't like being scared. And then B, the other thing is I don't like candy. That is another unpopular opinion. I will do a chocolate bar. I'll do like a coffee crisp or a Kit Kat, but not like a huge one. I just need like the small, the Halloween sized ones. And other than that, no candy. I can't do it. There is something about the textures and the flavors and the everything that's around it that makes it almost a physiological reaction to me, where it's a little, it makes me feel a little nauseous, the idea of it. And I am a huge texture person. If something is not a texture that I enjoy, not doing it. And it is, I admit, for some things, fully illogical, like licorice, for example. I've never tried it. I never will, because A, the texture, B, that it gets all over your teeth. Okay. Anyway, it gets all over your teeth, and then also just like the smell of it. I can't. I never will. And then my mom, she used to try to encourage me to eat my Halloween candy, which, you know how bad it was. When my actual parent is trying to be like, come on, try it. And I was like, no, absolutely not. I just know that I won't like it. Same thing goes with green beans. If green beans are not cooked a certain way, I won't eat them. I just won't. Maybe I'm a picky eater. Judge me for it, whatever. But this is a judgment-free zone. But yeah, and then it's the same thing with like that gelatin, chewy things I can't really do. Caramel I like in small amounts, but like I couldn't, an Aero bar is fine, but I'm not really a huge fan of Aero. A chocolate bar, if it has like, or like a box of chocolates, like a Prudy's box of chocolates, or a Laura Secord, or whatever they have in the US. Like, if there's a caramel one, it has to be a small amount. Same thing with like fruit flavored things, unless it's subtle and done tastefully. Can't do it. Like a strawberry smoothie, I can't. I don't like strawberries, actually. I hate bananas. That's also a texture thing. It's too mushy. But then also fake banana flavor is also, I hate it. Ooh, sorry, that sounded weird. I'm gonna have to watch what I do with my mouth. Ooh, that doesn't sound good. I have to watch the sounds that I make with, the incidental sounds that I make with my mouth. Oh, that was almost, anyway, moving on. But, what was I gonna say? Shoot, I, fully, oh, right, so, I like chalky candy as well, things like rockets. I think you call them Smarties in the US. Or like you get the idea. Blanket, I don't like candy. I don't like, incidentally, I don't care for Halloween. It's not that I hate Halloween, it's just that whenever it rolls around, it's kind of like, I feel kind of like a wet blanket sometimes, and I feel bad for it, but whatever. But that I would say is like my main sort of huge unpopular opinion that's on the forefront of my mind right now. I have a lot more, I'm sure, but everybody has unpopular opinions. It's just that they're just regular opinions until you expose them to a large crowd of people. The other thing is that I don't use social media. I say that fully as somebody who is speaking to you through a social media platform. YouTube, I consider to be a little bit different because it is so in my hands. I get to kind of curate what people see on my channel, and then same thing, I get to curate what I see. I get to avoid what I get to avoid, and I get to engage with what I want to engage with. But things like Instagram specifically, I really dislike. Instagram, I never really did Facebook all that much, but I find that social media is such a corporatized tool at this point. I think, anthropologically, it has the potential to be one of humanity's greatest tools. Like, the internet is such a revolution in the way that we communicate, in the way that we live, in the way that we operate. But I find that social media is not used well because, of course, it created the economy of attention, and all of a sudden companies could make money off of intangible engagement, where as long as you have eyes, you have a source of income. So we need to get as many eyes as possible, and I think that social media is fully behind, and this is like the most stale and lukewarm take ever, but social media, I think, is fully responsible for the polarization of our current political climate, because you'll notice this weird backslide on immigration, immigration. You'll notice a backslide on women's rights. You'll notice a backslide on anti-racism, on LGBTQIA+ rights, on indigenous rights. There's so much that's backsliding because it is profitable to make people hate something. I could easily I could probably dump a lot of gasoline on the fire if all of a sudden I started saying controversial things. And I don't want to, obviously, but it makes money because people engage with negativity, and that is something physiological. It's something within us. It's a psychological thing that we're attracted to negativity and things like that. Not wholly, but something that makes us angry is more likely to make us engage. And so companies prey on that response, this sort of, fight or flight response. So I find that it's just insidious, and it's hard for me to engage with something like Facebook, which just serves to, and it happens on the right wing. It's clear to see that right-wing spaces on social media have constructed a different reality. You have sitting U.S. Congress people claiming that the administration that they serve, that they are a part of, is engineering hurricanes it's just, they create such a different reality, and that is so profitable, because these people who live in this altered version of events, they just continue posting, and then you can put ads on those posts, and you get where I'm going. It's very profitable to have a group of people who are constantly engaged, and then if you make it so that they distrust the media, well then they keep coming back to social media to get their news from their trusted sources. So then they keep coming back, and then they keep posting, and then they maybe post a comment, and then they post a like, and then maybe they start posting themselves, so then there's more content to put more ads on. Negative feedback loop. Or I guess, is that a positive feedback loop? It's a feedback loop with negative effects. So that's why I find that social media is kind of unconscionable for myself. There's of course a lot of amazing things. Like I said just earlier, I referenced the fact that Lizzo would post TikToks working out, and that genuinely helped me recontextualize what I think about my body and my health. That's positive. Of course, here on YouTube, this is I find a social media platform that I can engage with as my most earnest self. So of course it's not all bad, but it is such a shade of gray that it's just hard for me to ever kind of get into it. I use Instagram. Well, I have like an old defunct account that I'll log into every now and again to see which one of my friends are getting married and who's had like a baby or something. But that's pretty much it. So I guess that is my most unpopular and then also political opinion, which is also like the most, like I say, lukewarm and stale take, but hey, this is my channel. I can say what I want. Okay, next question from Starshine, which was also asked by I Heart Sharks. If I could live anywhere, where would it be? There are a couple of different answers for this. Truthfully, I do quite like where I'm at right now. If I had to choose a place in Canada, I would probably choose Halifax, because it has a much larger gay scene, and then it's such a drastic jump in between clips, but now that I am back, I think I need to talk about my favorite ASMR artists because Ashton Picard asked me who they were, asked me who my favorite ASMR artists are. And sort of like gentle, caring atmosphere that I found once I discovered Mads and Rach in Grace and Trinity J, where I'm not going to judge ASMR artists like GB or ASMR Darling or like ASMR Zeitgeist, but I find those, I don't know, I find that they're almost too big in a sense, and I'm not trying to detract from what they do, because I think they do good work, obviously, but there's a bit less of an interpersonal element, and that's what I loved when I found Mads and when I found Rach especially. There was this element of being sort of with a friend almost, that I really, really enjoyed. It was just this sort of like body doubling slash somebody to just sit and chat with kind of element to what they do, and that really sort of informed what this channel became in terms of like the energy that I wanted to bring to the function, if that makes sense, where it's just like this chat between you and I, we're talking, or propagating my plants, or cleaning my room, or talking about, I mean, the trigger word thing was truly an accident. Trigger word ASMR is probably my favorite kind of ASMR, so that is where that came from. But like the rest of it is all informed by this, like there's a person talking to other people and it is kept very real. There's an element of the authenticity that I try to bring to this minor social media presence that I have, that I think, well, as I discussed, is sorely lacking on social media. And there is the opportunity for me to talk about my own mental health, and there's the opportunity for me to talk about the struggles and the triumphs and all this kind of thing. So hopefully I'm putting positivity out there. Positivity out there. all kind of figuring some things out and maybe going through them in odd ways because, of course, emotions are running high at that sort of era of life. But I would say that my fondest childhood memories come either from high school, which I understand really isn't childhood, but I'm gonna make it my childhood anyway, and then also a lot from my elementary school. The elementary school that I went to was very, 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 very small. I lived in Ontario at the time, so we had junior kindergarten, senior kindergarten, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. I went there for a lot of years, and I have so many fond memories from that time because it was so small. It was very, there was a lot of community at that school, so a couple moments stand out. We had to do public speaking as an activity for that school. So I both times, the first one I did a public speech about the moon landing, and then the second one that I did was about the Olympics. And I had to memorize the whole speech and then get up and give it. So those two are very fond memories because it was just very cool that we were allowed to do that, like that we were given the time to do that. At the science fair, the first time, like when I moved back to that school, because we moved away from that school in grade 1, and the school that I moved to was in such a bad state that my mom literally re-enrolled me halfway through the school year in that small school that I was at before. And when I came back, it was the first year that they did a science fair, and some of the kids didn't know me because a lot of them went on to sort of regular schools on like after they had left kindergarten, and then a couple of new kids had come in for the grade 1 class, so I wasn't totally familiar with them. So then I made an electromagnet with my mom because I liked magnetism back in when I was in grade 1, and that went over really well. I still have the trophy for it somewhere, but I won first prize, little nerdy boy, and so that's a very fond memory. There was one where when I lived still in Ontario, we moved to a house close to the end of the time that we lived in Ontario, where there was a dirt lot beside us, and it was just like that for, I guess, a long time before we had moved in, and then, of course, they never built anything in it, but before the developers had to go in and, like, clean up the lot, because I guess my mom complained or something like that, because it was like, I think there were, like, snakes in it, or rats or something, which is understandable. But my grandpa, he was raised on a farm, so one day in the summer when they were cleaning it up, they had cleared out all the weeds, but it was just dirt, and it had gotten so waterlogged because back, I lived in a place called Barrie. It was right on Lake Simcoe, which is not one of the Great Lakes, but close enough. Well, not really in size, but it's close to the Great Lakes. It's well known in like that sort of southern tip of Ontario. And we would get like crazy rain, so it was like waterlogged. And my grandpa, like I said, he grew up on a farm, and I was a very non-messy kid when I was growing up. I don't know how he did this, he convinced me to go out there and squish my toes around in the mud, which I hated, but I ended up liking it because it was with him, and it's just a very fond memory that I share with him. When he passed away because of Alzheimer's, so there's sort of a bitter happiness and bitter sweetness in his passing, because thank goodness he's not going through Alzheimer's school. Fondest memory of high school is coming out to myself and my best friend at the time. There was one day in math class, I've told the story before, but there was a day when I was just like, holy fuck, I'm gay. And like that was really cool. And then I told one of my friends in grade 11. I think it was about in grade 11. Yeah. So that was a really, really, really nice memory. Of course, all of my drama and choir stuff that I did in high school are very fond memories. So it's not as though I have like one specific one. I count myself very lucky, especially as a kid who went to Catholic school and turned out gay, that like I didn't leave with more traumatic memories. But no, I'm very lucky in that way, and I recognize that. But I'd say I have a lot of fond childhood memories. The next question is my death row meal. My death row meal. This is literally probably the hardest question on here. I'm lost whenever I think of this. I think the closest thing, mostly because at the best of times, I can't decide what to eat on like just a regular day. So it's not happening if I'm about to be executed. I have such bad decision paralysis. But there is one thing that comes to mind. One thing that comes to mind, and that is this macaroni dish that my mom used to make. Well, she still does sometimes. That my mom used to make that uses like Campbell's cream of mushroom soup, and I think like she bakes it, but there's not like a hard layer of cheese on top. I don't like a hard layer of cheese on top. I find the flavor to just be like one note. Again, I'm a little bit weird, but this macaroni, I don't know, she's been making it apparently since I was a baby, and I know that kind of because I guess she started feeding it to me as soon as I could eat pasta, and like the taste of this dish, if we have it today, it like brings me way back in like some weird subconscious sensory memory. So I would probably say that, just because I mean, like I came into the world eating it, and then I go out of the world eating it. I don't know. There is also like, there's a really good, just like local pasta place down the street that's run by like a little Italian couple. They do like a DIY pasta thing, and they have gnocchi from time to time, and I'm a huge gnocchi fan, so I would do that. My grandma's pierogies are another like top contender. My grandma herself is not Ukrainian, but my grandpa was Ukrainian, so my grandma kind of just like assumed the culture in a way, at least the cuisine of it. My grandma is in fact German and Polish, but my grandpa's side of the family is like full on Ukrainian, so I'd say those two, like those three, like a good gnocchi dish. My mom's macaroni is probably the answer, and then my grandma's pierogies, I think, are like all fighting for the top spot. But again, I have such terrible decision paralysis, I'd probably end up like, I'd say something stupid like, I don't even know, I'd probably just say like, just make me anything. I'm that kind of person where I'm like, oh no, like whatever is convenient for you to make. I am that kind of wishy-washy, I guess, person. I am the plus one of someone who has left. Jane Wickline is a genius. Anyway, next question for this is also from Elise7775. If I could have dinner with anybody, who would it be? I'm gonna say, again, a cop-out answer. My best friend. She is essentially my sister at this point. Only child. I make my friends my family. This is the friend that got married in May, if you've been watching my videos for that long. She is truthfully, like, she is my platonic soulmate, I would say. It's a very good sort of word for her. She is absolutely fantastic. I love everything about her. And that would be, like, if it was my last dinner on Earth, again, I would reading, and video games. Those are consistently my fugue states. I'd say comfort video games are Pokemon games, for sure. Pokemon games, for sure. Stardew Valley as well, I would say, is a really good comfort game. I think video game-wise, yeah, but like curling up with a good book is always fun. I love a road trip. Well, okay, sorry, I got interrupted, but I'm not a huge fan of like a long drawn-out road trip, but like driving in the car, I really like. I find that quite relaxing. So what I used to do is, if I was feeling particularly overwhelmed, I don't do this much anymore, which maybe is a good sign for my mental health. I don't, what was I gonna say? Crap. Oh, shit. Oh, right, I don't, or no, I would, at night, get in my car. Sorry, I'm trying to spread around some lip balm. There we go. There we go. I would get in my car late at night, and then I would go around and just drive around my town and blast music. And there's like this place where light pollution kind of dips down a little bit so that you can see the stars a little bit better, and like you're just blasting music while you do that. That is a happy place for sure. Video games. My music is a huge happy place for me. Often there will be nights where I just, like, if I'm not feeling that good or I'm feeling kind of sad, I'll just put on music on my phone and I'll just stare out my window. Stargazing, I find, gives me a lot of joy. And then being with my family. If you've been a particularly astute viewer, you will have noticed that I've started talking about hanging out with my family a lot more over this summer. One side of my family is Vietnamese, and my mom's brother married a lady from Vietnam, and her whole family lives here, and her whole family is huge, and all of my cousins that are her nieces and nephews and all that, they've started including me a lot more, which I'm really happy about. And it's not as though like they excluded me before, it's just that it never really came up, but now I'm doing a lot more with them, and that makes me feel very, very happy. That makes me feel very, very happy again. It connects me to kind of sibling-like figures in my life, which I enjoy. And then what do I turn to when I feel low? This is another question from Meg, and I would say, like, truthfully, what I've just talked about, I'll do like a day of plant care. I'll just like rest up and listen to music. I'll read something. So there's a lot of those types of things that I would say bring me a lot of joy. Sorry, I'm just looking at my Hawaiian palm. Its trunk has been a little bit spongy, so I want to make sure I get on top of that. I also need to look at it for any more spider mites, but like, yeah, my plants. I'll do like a plant day. I'll go outside and just look at the plants that I have outside. In the winter, it's a little bit harder, but I lean on my music a lot more. I love a good warm bath that I can read in. So those are a good, like, kind of those two questions I answer in tandem. And then what inspired my plants? Speaking of my plants, my indoor plants were inspired by my mom. That bamboo that is kind of off in the corner. Little shameless self-plug. Go watch my cleaning and organizing my room video. You'll see all of my plants, and I end up talking about my bamboo. That was my first ever plant. When my mom and I moved into this house, we did have to start over in some sense. Well, in a lot of senses, but I didn't have anything to put on my shelves, and I used to be okay with that because I'm a knick-knack kind of person, but all of a sudden Droseralia, all of them are unique in some ways. So then I started becoming attracted to different kinds of like succulents and other kinds of plants. Of course, then I developed a tropical obsession. So that is kind of where my indoor plants came from. Outdoor plants were a product of the pandemic. I had literally nothing to do. I was laid off between March 14th, 2020 and then October 7th of 2020. So I just did a bunch of shit outside. I stained our fence. I stained our deck. I put together 4 planters of my own plants, and from there it just kind of all blossomed, and I feel very motherly towards all of them. So that is kind of maybe what motivates me in my plants, is just caring for something and seeing like it's so exciting when like that leaf right there is a completely new leaf, and it's just exciting to see something that you have taken care of thrive because of the high quality of care that you give it. So I would say that is what inspires my plants for sure. Next are from Minnie Roberts, one of my channel members. Minnie Roberts. My best piece of advice. This is going to be, this is also a difficult question, but for my, one of the greatest lessons I've learned in life is the earlier that you can do this, the better. Embrace yourself. Embrace yourself fully. Changing yourself can sometimes be worth the time, can sometimes be worth the effort, but I truthfully find that being myself and not apologizing for it and just loving who I am leads me to a lot more happiness than it did when I tried to cover up who I was. So don't apologize for being who you are. Don't apologize for your uniquenesses, your weirdnesses, your eccentricities. They're all perfect in your own kind of way. The other piece of advice that I like to give people is that you are not stupid. You are not stupid at all. Everybody is brilliant in their own way. Everybody's brilliant in their own way. You have a skill set and a set of strengths that are unique to you and that are valuable in a myriad of different situations. So never sell yourself short. Never tell yourself that you can't do something simply because of a lack of ability, because there is something out there that makes you and you're good at it. It's the same thing like when I used to hear in high school, like some of the kids get told like, oh well, you're meant for the trades. It's like, fuck that. The trades are amazing. Like, you can make absolute bank being an electrician, a plumber, like, anyway, never tell yourself that you're not good, and also never tell yourself that you're stupid. You're selling yourself short, and every time you sell yourself short, you don't allow yourself to achieve or become who you are meant to be. And again, the quicker you can learn that, I think better off you can be. Again, and it's a learning process, of course. I'm still in the process of learning these lessons, so advice givers are on always their own journey as well. The most perfect people on earth are also on a self-improvement journey until the day that they die, because that is just the nature of being a human. My favorite quote, I actually don't have a super like set in stone favorite quote except for Trixie Mattel. Girls. Amtrak is fantastic. Amtrak is fantastic. Robin. How could you not love Call Your Girlfriend? Robin. Kesha. Although less for the music and more for like the whole sort of attitude. More for the whole attitude. Let's see. I'm gonna go back into here. Bank, Bank is a really good EP out right now. I think I already said Joji, but Joji's fantastic. Aurora, obviously. Elderbrook, I need to say again. I think that's a pretty good sort of smattering of the Mowgli emoji LII I said already. Melv, MELVV is fantastic. Again, I know I'm repeating these, I'm just making sure that I get all of them in. Ben Bomer is spelled Ben, obviously B-E-N, and then B-O with an umlaut over it, and then H-M-E-R, Ben Bomer. Ben Bomer. John Billion, I'm not angry at, I really love John Billion. Madonna, obviously, how could you not? Yeah, I think that probably occupies the top spot. I really love West Coast Massive. Yeah, that is actually, I think, a good sort of capstone. Big Wild is good. Techno is really good as well. And then yeah, I think I'm happy with that list. Godford, oh my god, I almost forgot. But Godford is really good. Godford is fantastic. Dawntown is one of my favorite songs of all time. Oh, Milky Chance. Living in a Haze by Milky Chance is probably my song of the last 3 years. One of my favorites, at least. It's also on the top of my streaming numbers. So favorite musicians, and then favorite board or video games. Board games, obviously Dungeons and Dragons. Favorite video games, Stardew Valley. Old Pokemon, Sword and Shield. I'm sorry. Again, maybe unpopular opinion. Same thing with Scarlet and Violet. Scarlet and Violet is better than Sword and Shield, but yeah, that's not a high bar to clear. I really dislike Scarlet and Violet. Let's see. This is like Fire Emblem Radiant Dawn is my favorite video game of all time. Any of the Fire Emblem series I really like. Engage I was less impressed with, but Three Houses I love. Awakening, Birthright, like all those, that sort of Fire Emblem Fates, I think they were called. The kind of 3 video games that came out in one. Path of Radiance, Radiant Dawn, really good. Let's see, what else? Overwatch, I really like Overwatch. I like Mass Effect. Mass Effect is also good. Streets of Rogue is always a good fallback game. Yeah, I would say that's a pretty good smattering. As for board games, I don't play a lot of board games because my mom doesn't like playing board games, but I need to find board game friends because I love a good board game. 3 movies that I really like: Arrival, Barbie, and Oppenheimer. I know, I'm basic, whatever, but I found Barbie and Oppenheimer to be great. Barbie is probably my favorite movie of all time, other than Arrival, and other than The Secret Life of Walter Mitty. TV shows, Jeopardy, always at the top, An Amazing Race, then any Real Housewives, as long as it's Orange County or Beverly Hills. And then 3 books that I like. The Spear Cut Through Water by Simon Jimenez is my favorite book of all time. The Powder Made Trilogy by Brian McClellan, and then the Robert Jackson Bennett's, like the Foundry Side Shorefall and Loglands, I would say, are my favorite book series / books of all time. Yeah, back in the era when, like I got my first phone that I got was my mom's hand-me-down iPhone. She had the first iPhone, and back in grade 8, she handed it down to me when she got her new phone. And then years later, she got me started on like having my own phone plan, and then I got my like first true phone, and I had that for, I think, well, actually maybe that was in grade 9. Yeah. Oh, that would have been the summer between grade 9 and grade 10, that's why. But, what was I thinking? Oh, right. But, between grade 9 and grade 10, I had lost that phone that I had gotten, and I was so terrified because, and my mom, she obviously wasn't angry because it wasn't my fault, because eventually we found out that this is when my grandpa started sort of on the first steps towards Alzheimer's, and he had taken my phone by accident. So that wasn't it. And then he had realized that he did it, and he didn't want, this is a hallmark of Alzheimer's, he didn't want people to know that he had made that lapse. So he just hid it somewhere where he knew we would find it. But it was that was scary, because I was like, oh my god, I lost like the first big thing. And my mom was like, don't worry about it, like stop getting so upset. But to this day, I still don't like not knowing where things are, and it has to do with like the whole object permanence thing of ADHD, where like I like things to be out, if you know what I mean. Like, this is the spot for my it's a bad example, but like, oh, right behind me but it is again like a physiological reaction in a way. I can't stand it. So that is a hated trigger, of course. I can't think of anything else. Oh, this is a really deep cut, but the Nikita Dragon ASMR video, which I know is like the weirdest thing, but if an ASMR artist is going like overly drawing out their S's, no thank you. I can't do that. I am not a huge fan of like I like a latte ASMR roleplay, but like I'm not a huge fan of I don't know what the best way to describe it is. Actually, okay, Trisha Paytas ASMR videos. I don't like Trisha Paytas that like she does like a tavern maid, tavern wench or something ASMR roleplay, and she also does just like regular videos like that on her, I think, TikTok. I don't like overly cheesy, poorly acted ASMR roleplay like that sort of like no, I can't. Like again, this is no hate to anybody who does enjoy it, but I like maybe a more grounded roleplay is the best way to put it, because I like the Matt's ASMR Sleep Doctor or Sleep ER Clinic, whatever that was, roleplay, latte ASMR roleplays. I'm okay. I like Josie B. I haven't watched a Josie B video in a long time, but when she does those roleplays, like putting makeup on you or doing like a moon fairy kind of thing, I'm okay with that. It's just when it's like overly done, too many props. And again, if you like this kind of thing, I am not judging you. I enjoy for you. I enjoy that you enjoy it, but I just don't partake in it myself. A super sort of haphazard, fast and aggressive ASMR. If ASMR is fast and aggressive, I still need it to be intentional. I don't like just like that kind of thing. It's just, it's too chaotic. And I'm kind of like exaggerating a little bit, but like other ones where they're like dooba dooba doo, la la la, like sounds and then things like that. Male ASMR artists, I find, do it the most, where especially on like TikTok, I notice this a lot more, where there's like this no, this one, it doesn't start shipping in 3 days. That's a bit of an exaggeration, but like, you're not lasting. These aren't gonna last a week looking completely perfect. These ones most likely will. With the leaf on it. From Shoppers Drug Mart. The next 2 questions are from Starlin, and they kind of go hand in hand. My Zodiac, and then, like, do I partake in astrology? My Zodiac, I'm a Sagittarius, and I like to partake in astrology in a sort of maybe purely for interest's sake kind of way. I'm not the kind of person who, and I don't think there are a lot of people out there who do, but I'm not the kind of person who tries to dive into like my moon sign and my chart and all that kind of stuff. If I read a horoscope, sometimes I'm like, oh, that's cute. Sometimes they do have like coincidences in them, and I think a lot of astrology is that. I'm not trying to be rude, this is my personal feelings about it. I know a lot of people find a lot of comfort in it, and I'm very happy for people like that. My mom, for example, she puts a little bit more weight in it, and I just find that I can't. I wouldn't say that I've like tried, but I have given it sort of an earnest shot, and it's just not. I don't know. I guess it's just not for me, other than as like a little interest or like a novelty kind of thing. And again, I'm not trying to be rude. If you like that kind of thing and you do give it a lot of credence, I am happy for you. Whatever floats your boat. If that has legitimately improved your life, I am happy for you. It's like the way that I approach religion. Like, it's not for me, but I am happy that it betters people. The only thing that I think that people need to watch out for is when people start saying that like this thing, whatever it happens to be, can cure things, or forego medical treatment in favor of whatever. I have a family member who was this is a bit sad, but one of my grandma's nieces, so I'm not sure how I'm related to them, but it's like my second cousin or whatever, is a huge believer in homeopathic medicine. They didn't get the vaccines or anything like that for COVID, and they don't get flu shots, and they are like always sick. Oh, they are like always sick. It's getting colder, so the house is kind of settling. But she then eventually got sick with cancer, and she refused to take radiation. She refused to do chemotherapy. She was just hell-bent on homeopathic treatment, and she is no longer with us. And it was hard to watch my grandma have to go through that, because it's just, yeah. Anyway, I think that as soon as all of these sort of like alternative things take a turn for, you don't need to get cancer treatment, just pay a homeopath thousands of dollars for their medication and you'll be cured. I think that's predatory, and I think that is, it's preying on vulnerable people. And I realize that very often the people who will be like that, the kind of people who are like, if you just get this one crystal, its vibrations are going to reset and your Parkinson's will go away. I think those people are not earnestly engaging with those things. It's kind of like they are there to cash in, I think, and some of them probably believe it wholeheartedly, but I'm going to say the vast majority of them don't believe in it wholeheartedly. They are just trying to capitalize something that informs me and who I am today? This, unfortunately, is kind of the same answer. I find that the McElroy brothers and their approach to everything, including their Monster Factory online series, that's here on YouTube. If you look up Monster Factory, it is amazing. It's just like the funniest shit you've ever heard. Monster Factory, Carboys with Griffin, and of course Nick, who has been through a little bit of controversy. Like those things, really, like the McElroy brothers in general, their whole idea kind of really informs the way that I live. I try to live with kindness. I try to give a lot of benefit of the doubt, or I guess grace, not in a religious way, but like I try to give grace to a lot of people. I try to consider people's feelings, and they do also a very good job of modeling that, and they are also interested in constant growth and bettering themselves. I don't know, there's a lot in their whole sort of approach that they don't necessarily like sell this as advice or lifestyle. It's just kind of ambient, but I find it just infinitely inspiring, and I try to be like them. That sort of unabashed kindness and unabashed sort of welcoming gentleness, I guess is a good way to put it. Okay, next question is from Probably June, one of my channel members. Probably June. Could a billion lions beat every Pokemon? Absolutely not. Never. Yeah, no. Every Pokemon, there's like 1,000 and some of those things now. Like, no. A billion lions have no chance. They stand no chance. They stand no chance. Next question is from Stephanie Brock. If I could visit a time period, when would that time period be? Just because of the gay thing, not many, but out of interest's sake, this is maybe really weird, but I'd love to visit like the Neolithic era, kind of when everything was getting started. Like, I want to meet the person who first thought like, okay, we're gonna like plant shit in the ground, or like the people who were like, you know what, that giant bull thing over there, we're gonna use that thing and we're gonna milk it and we're gonna keep it in a pen. Like, who the fuck thought of this stuff? Like the first person who like discovered that milk was drinkable from a different animal. I want to know the thought process behind, hey, me drinky. Like, I want to know who the fuck was weird enough to do that. I think visiting the Neolithic era would be really cool. I would like to see like the origin of art, like cave painting, and like the reason for it, the origin of language. I think visiting like ancient Mesopotamia would be really cool, and like seeing like the first cuneiform. I really think that it would also be fun to be like a farmer in like the Sengoku Jidai period in Japan. I understand that there was a lot of war and pillaging going on, but just like that sort of like, or maybe even like the Edo period, because that was very peaceful. Yeah, actually no, the Edo period is a good idea. Like visiting that time period, because it's just very like peaceful. You get to farm. Japan is a very beautiful country. I think it would also be kind of cool to visit like an alternate timeline, if you know what I mean. Like, if we had a timeline where like a steampunk thing going on, that would be cool. Sorry, you can hear a truck in the background. Hopefully I 1st, 2018. And I call that House-iversary, and that is probably my favorite holiday of all time, because it marked a point of us removing ourselves from a pretty bad situation, and that was the first night we slept in this house, and I slept in this room, and I looked out that window that you always see in my mirror. There's just a hair on the screen. There's just a hair on the screen. There we go. That mirror that you see. And I specifically, I remember I saw the constellation Orion, like, right framed perfectly. And that was a good night. That was a good day. And that is a day that I celebrate for sure. The next question is, do I have any recurring dreams? I have recurring dreams of being late. I also have, and none of these are like the same dream, but they're almost always a similar-ish circumstance. I'm late to something. I'm at university, and there's an exam that is happening that time, and I didn't study for it, and I didn't even know that it was happening. I also have, back when I was a swimming instructor, I used to have drowning dreams, a lot, either myself or my students drowning, and those were never fun. I also get, like, I'm hanging out with a group of, like, friends, but I don't recognize them, so that's weird, and then they're, like, asking me these things that are, like, inside jokes and questions that I should know, and I'm just like, yeah, but I don't know, because I don't know them. And then other ones are travel dreams of, like, we need to get somewhere, and, like, we need to get in the car and we need to go, but we're just not going. Or, like, we need to get on the plane and we're rushing through the airport, and like, all these kind of, like, stressful dreams, I guess. And then the other kind of dream I have often is, like, a kind of, almost like I'm in a fantasy video game, where there's, like, some big evil that we have to defeat. Star Wars dreams are weirdly common for me, which is kind of odd, where, like, we need to defeat something, or we need to blow up the big ship or something like that, which is kind of interesting. But if any of you know what these mean, please tell me. And then this last one is from Golden Schultz. Oh wait, Coledensc. Oh, sorry, Golden S Chaos. Coledenschaos. Sorry, Golden's Chaos. This final question of this entire Q&A video is, what is my favorite song? And I actually made a list of this for myself. I'm going to try to find it. But this is really hard. This is actually, this one is the hardest question. This one is the hardest question, I would say. But I made a top 10 list that's actually, I believe, a top 11 list. So, my favorite song of all time is Queendom by Aurora. Queendom by Aurora. Now, Queendom is a beautiful song. The production, the vocal quality, everything. It is sublime. I love that song with all of my heart. I think I did put it on my top 10 list, but I also have many songs bouncing around in my brain I realize, but I really like hyperpop, and I also find that if you listen to an Eliotto interview describing what the song's about, it is so shockingly deep, and I just get it. I just understand, and I really love it. I really love it. I really, really love it. Next one is Living in a Haze by Milky Chance. Living in a Haze by Milky Chance. That song is very intensely personal to me, and I love it. Whenever I hear him say, I wish I was a disco boy, I scream in my car, like, I wish I was a disco boy too. And if you know what that means in the context of the song, it's just very, I love it. It's awesome. Like Real People Do by Hosier. It just sounds so fucking gorgeous. It sounds so amazingly gorgeous, and I love it so much. Especially like Hosier's vocal performance is just always awe-inspiring to me. Next up is Morning in America by John Bellion. Morning in America by John Bellion. I love this song in ways that I can't even describe. But I think just the sound of it, the time that it landed for me was just absolutely incredible. The whole album is really good, but Morning in America is even better. Alien Superstar by Beyonce is the next one. Obviously, the entire Renaissance album is on this list, but Alien Superstar just sounds like absolutely incredible. Energy, Pure Honey is also amazing. Cuff It is absolutely fantastic. And then I think this is number